To get into this door, all I need is my hand. Honestly, I feel a little bit like Iron Man. No key, no phone, I don't even have to touch the lock, just hold my hand in front of it, and I'm in. This is the new TCL D2 Pro smart lock. And what's really interesting isn't just the palm vein scanner. This new lock supports Matter over Thread, works with multiple smart home ecosystems, and gives you several different ways to get through your front door. So today we're gonna look at the hardware, connectivity and ecosystems, and put those features to the test to see whether it's actually a smart lock that I'd recommend putting on your front door. Let's take a look. Hey, I'm Robert, and Oconee Smart Homes exists to make real homes more convenient, accessible, and safe with smart home technology. We serve real customers right here in Oconee County, Georgia, but this channel is for anyone who wants to make a simpler, smarter home. Thanks to TCL for sending me a sample of the D2 Pro to test so that I can provide hands-on feedback for you. As always, all of my content is completely independent, and you can find our full collaboration policy linked in the description below. Let's start with the hardware. My first impression of the D2 Pro was pretty good. The exterior has a fairly modern design, and the build feels solid without looking overly industrial. But the thing you'll probably notice first is going to be this. That's the palm vein scanner. Instead of using a fingerprint, TCL is using infrared technology to recognize the unique vein pattern in your palm. And the result is a very different unlocking experience. You don't have to touch anything. You don't have to pull out your phone. You just put your hand in front of the sensor, and it unlocks. The other thing I like is how smooth the actual lock mechanism feels. There's no feeling like you're fighting the deadbolt. The motor is relatively quick and the action feels smooth. Installation was also very straightforward. If you've installed a standard deadbolt before, this isn't a dramatically different process. Obviously, every door is different, and you need to make sure that your existing door and deadbolt setup are compatible, but I didn't find the installation particularly difficult. And once it's installed, you have a surprisingly large number of ways to get through the door, which brings us to connectivity. Now, this is where the D2 Pro gets pretty interesting, because unlike other TCL locks, this new model supports Matter over Thread. If you've been following smart home technology for a while, you know why that's important. Matter isn't a smart home ecosystem. It's a common language that allows compatible devices to work with ecosystems like Apple Home, Google Home, Alexa, and others. And Thread is a low-power wireless network that the lock can use to communicate with your smart home. For me, this is one of the biggest reasons to be interested in this lock, because the smart home industry doesn't need more products that try and force you into one ecosystem. We need more products that give us options. The D2 Pro also has built-in Wi-Fi. Now, that's used by the TCL app for things like remote access, notifications, and control. So you've basically got two different connectivity paths here. Matter over Thread for your smart home and Wi-Fi for the TCL app and their experience. But you can disable that entirely for a true local experience called local mode. TCL says the D2 Pro keeps your data stored locally. Local storage alone doesn't automatically mean that every feature works without an internet connection. More on that in a second. But it does mean that your palm veins aren't shipped off to the cloud. Now, with local mode, you can completely disable the Wi-Fi and operate the lock with Matter over Thread or Bluetooth in the TCL app with no cloud required. But enough about connectivity. Let's talk about actually using this thing. The feature you're probably most curious about is obviously the palm scanner. And this is where I was skeptical at first, because waving your hand at your front door sounds a little ridiculous, especially for the new ultra-wideband purists in 2026. But after using it, I get it. The scanner's pretty fast. And more importantly, in my testing, the question isn't whether this worked once, it's whether it works consistently. So I tested it repeatedly, and the results were interesting. TCL claims the scanner can unlock in around 0.3 seconds under its laboratory testing conditions. My experience was hard to quantify. It took me several attempts to get a stride and rhythm that didn't require me to stop to unlock the door. And here's what that looks like. Between detecting the palm and actually unlocking the door, we're talking about 2 to 3 seconds. Honestly, this is fine. I don't really care what a manufacturer can achieve in a controlled laboratory test. I care whether I'm standing at my front door with my groceries in my hands and I can get in. And that's where palm recognition can make a lot of sense. You don't have to touch the lock, you don't have to remember a code, and you don't have to pull out your phone. But unlike ultra-wideband, it's not hands-free. Of course, you don't have to use your palm. You also have a keypad. So if you're having a friend, family member, cleaner, or contractor come over, you can give them an access code instead of handing out a physical key. You can manage users and access through the TCL app, but it also supports user management in Apple Home. but palm vein setup can only happen in the TCL app. There's also NFC supported through the optional key fob, which is included in the package. And of course, there's the physical key, which I actually like because smart home technology is great until the lock dies. The cylinder can be removed and rekeyed to match your home's Schlage style keys. Then there's Autolock. This is one of those features that sounds incredibly boring until you don't have it. Because how many times have you walked away from your house and thought, did I lock the door? With Autolock enabled, the D2 Pro can automatically lock itself. This auto lock time is configurable in Matter, including Apple Home. I've got mine set to a minute. This is a feature that isn't crazy, but eliminates a bit of mental overhead from your day. So what about auto unlock? For those who want it, the TCL app can use Bluetooth and geofencing for automatic unlocking. This is not available in local mode. And while this is convenient, it's also a feature that I'd be cautious about enabling because there's a big difference between unlocking when I intentionally interact with my door and unlocking automatically because my phone thinks that I've come home. There's one more feature worth mentioning. There's a doorbell built into this lock. It's a doorbell button. It is not a smart video doorbell. There isn't a camera here giving you a video feed of whoever's standing at your door. The doorbell feature isn't even exposed anywhere in Matter. So if you're looking at this and thinking, wait, can this replace my doorbell? No. Think of it more as a convenient doorbell button that's integrated into the lock. On my office door, it works great because I can hear the doorbell loud and clear from my desk, but then I have to unlock the door separately to let somebody in. So it's a nice addition, but it could be better if it were more connected. The D2 features a rechargeable 10,000 milliamp hour lithium battery. It's expected to give you 8 to 10 months of battery life, and this will be extended if you turn off Wi-Fi and use local mode. The battery itself can be removed and recharged with a USB-C, and there's a port on the front of the lock for you to recharge if you get locked out because of a dead battery. So after using the D2 Pro, what do I actually like? Pros, number one, is Matter. This is probably my biggest positive. Matter support gives this lock a much better shot at fitting into your existing smart home instead of forcing you to build around the lock. And especially for Apple Home users, having another Matter compatible smart lock is a good thing. More competition means more choices. Number two is the unlocking experience. The palm vein unlocking is genuinely cool, but more important for me, it was the reliability. If you're gonna put a smart lock on your front door, reliability matters more than having a list of 37 features. I don't need this lock to make my coffee. I do need it to unlock when I put my hand in front of it. To test the reliability, I'm not just relying on my own experience. I built a test automation in HomeKey that runs every hour. It unlocks the door, and then 30 seconds later, it locks the door back and logs any failures or successes along the way. So far, I have over 200 successes, 211 to be exact, and 0 failures. And number three is the flexibility. You've got palm recognition, you have the keypad, you've got NFC, you've got the app, you've got voice control, and you've got a physical key. That's a lot of ways to get through one door, which means it's probably got an unlock method that would work for you. But there are a few things missing, and these are particularly important if you're deep into the Apple ecosystem. Number one, there's no ultra wideband here, and that means you don't get the super precise proximity detection that can be used for a more seamless, hands-free unlocking. This is a new feature on the scene this year with the Car's U400 and the Schlage Sense Pro. It has limited options, and I think it's great, but if you read forums online, there are people who have trouble with it. So I consider this a con, but you may not care. Number two, now this is probably going to be one of the biggest disappointments for Apple users. The D2 Pro supports Matter and NFC, but it doesn't support Apple HomeKey or Aliro. You can't simply add the lock to your Apple Wallet and tap your iPhone or Apple Watch to unlock it the same way that you can with a HomeKey compatible lock. Aliro is another emerging standard designed to make digital keys more interoperable across ecosystems. The D2 doesn't support it either. I brought this up with TCL as a must-have feature, and they said they were looking at it for future models, so don't expect to get it as a firmware update. So, while Matter is a big step forward, there are still some big wins that TCL could have delivered here. Matter, Thread, HomeKey or Aliro, ultra wideband, and palm veins? Yes, give me all of it. One compelling aspect of a focused feature set is the price. This isn't a $300 to $400 smart lock packed with every feature, but with an expected price below $200, I do think it makes a compelling offering. Be sure to check the description for availability dates and a special launch discount code. So, is the TCL D2 Pro the right smart lock for you? think it depends on what you're looking for. If you want a smart lock that feels futuristic, the palm vein unlocking is genuinely fun. If you want flexibility, matter over thread is a big deal. If you need multiple ways to get into your house, TCL gives you plenty of options. But if your priority is Apple HomeKey or ultra wideband, there are other locks that make more sense for you. For me though, the biggest takeaway is this. The D2 Pro isn't interesting just because you can wave your hand at it. It's interesting because TCL has taken this futuristic biometric experience and combined it into a Matter device. And that's the direction that I want to see from smart locks and the smart home industry in general. Cool technology is great, it's fun, but cool technology that actually fits into your smart home is much more useful. And yes, I still feel a little bit like Iron Man every time I open the door. If you want to see more hands-on smart home reviews like this, make sure you subscribe and let me know in the comments. Would you rather unlock your front door with your palm, your phone, or a good old-fashioned pin? God bless you. See you next time. It is super hot today, probably like 100 degrees. I am sweating. So I think the next thing I'm gonna do is head to Costco and buy that Matter-enabled portable air conditioner that I saw there, set it up, get cool, and make a video on it.